She go? She good? Yeah. Woo! Well, winter's come back with a vengeance, man. I'm definitely not a snow bunny. Welcome to our Sunday afternoon live. Obviously never did it last week because we were exhibiting at the Hawkesbury Expo. Wow, what a huge weekend. Give us a shout out if you met us or met some of the team out at the Hawkesbury Expo. Faye and Lance out there run a really tight outfit. They had a heap of builders, a couple of late runners come in. So there was a mountain of tiny house builders and tiny homes out there, and it was just a fantastic weekend. Actually, shout out to some of the guys who've been out there from Iconic, Tiny Solar, Horseland. Man, had a beer with the guys from Horseland on the Friday night. Sam and Dave, lovely fellas, and it was just good catching up and chatting to the fellas, and Blake and Guy from Tiny Solar. And this was their first actual show. They did extremely well, represented or brought a great product, looked fantastic. So they're only new in the game. And but yeah, for their first up build, really ticked some boxes. So fantastic fellas, congratulations, what a great job. And the guys there from Iconic, didn't get a chance to meet them down at Geelong, but they were right next door to us this time, so I had a bit of time to have a chat. So it was really good catching up with those boys as well. So good seeing it. Yeah, it's really good just doing the tiny house circuit, just seeing other builders, seeing what they're up to, having a bit of a chat in a gas bag, and looking at the pros and cons of building tiny houses and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, fantastic, loved it. It was great exposure for all those involved and for all the builders that were there. So a fantastic weekend. So welcome to our Sunday afternoon live. Now remember, if you've got any questions, make sure you bung them up on the screen, and I'll endeavour to answer those whilst I'm going through the questions I've had during the week. And hope everyone's had a great week. Weekend's just about over, half an hour, and I'm done. Then I'm clocking off. So big weekend, moving forward. It was we finally got it's the first time Havenwood have actually exhibited at the Hawkesbury Expo. Took 9 homes. It was a little bit closer to home. Took 9 homes up there just to create a bit of just to give people that overall. We've got our lower ticket items starting around that 79,000 for our Bow Rivers and Tucker's Rest, right up to our couple of speckies we took out there for the show. And it was really good just to give people this overall. Hi Fiona, Fiona Ladley, g'day. And it was just like really good just to show people what we can get up to at Havenwood, and just to give people that overall broad spectrum of what we can do. And just unlike most builders, we try to max out our size, maximum width, maximum height, and there's some larger homes out there in length. I think it was a couple of 9-metre homes out there, which was crazy. There was Brad the builder. Never got a chance to meet Brad there. About 6 or 7 homes. He had a massive amount of homes out there as well, but I think they're up that direction. Never got to chat to them because they were on the other side of the actual expo. So once you get in the thick of it and the ball's rolling and that starter whistle goes, you just flat out all day, So it's really only the local homes around you when you're exhibiting that you get a chance to chat to them, So, but yeah, great show, loved it. So anyway, I got about 8 or 9 questions here. Like I said, if you've got any questions, make sure you bung them up. I'll read those as we go through as well. So I'll start cracking into it. Okay, our first question is, I don't need any upstairs lofts. Do you do a ground floor only? Well, obviously with a ground floor only, so single level, you need to have a master bedroom downstairs. Now, there's a couple of our models that already have the master bedroom downstairs, which is our Charlo and our Elliott model. Okay, so master bedroom's already downstairs. And g'day, Rebecca. I was at the Hawkesbury Expo. They were beautiful homes you had there. Thanks, Rebecca. Thanks for your feedback. So our Elliott model and our Charlo model both have the master bedroom downstairs. And of course, if you don't need the upstairs, what we do, we basically rather than having around about 4.1 metre ceiling heights, we drop that down to 3 metre ceiling heights without the lofts. Obviously on that ground floor, you already have a kitchen, bathroom, bedroom. So it's all happening on the ground floor anyway. We are going to be doing, I've already chatted to our trailer guys at Exclusive. Cody is, we're looking at doing an 11-metre model. Now, I'm only actually just speculating this. I've done my sums on weight. I reckon we'll be sweet with our overall weight. But remember, we're 3 metres wide. It's going to have 3 metre ceiling heights. And we're talking 11 metres of actually body of home. Just remember, the maximum you can build or tiny home or caravan for that matter is 12.5 metres long. So what you've got to do, you've actually got to allow for a 1.5 metre hitch. Okay, so that means the body of the home itself can only actually be 11 metres. So, but in our current Charlo or Elliott for that matter, they are 8.2 metres long. So you can picture at 8.2, we're basically adding another 2.8 metres. For us, that's another bedroom. So we can actually, or on paper, at this stage, we can do a 2-bedroom ground floor model. And the way I'll set it out, I'll have the bathroom separating the 2 bedrooms. So you'll have a little hallway, bedroom 1, bathroom, and bedroom 2 at the end of the tiny house. So total ground floor. Really looking forward to putting that on the drawing board and cracking into that probably in the next 6 to 8 weeks. So we'll get that cranking because out at the expo, a lot of call for ground floor models, because what we're seeing is a lot of the elderly generation want to tap into the tiny house market, and they obviously don't want to walk upstairs, especially with tiny homes. Most tiny homes have got what would you call it, outside industry standard step heights, because we're trying to condense the staircase into a smaller area. So our tread heights are hovering around that 250 millimetre high. Maximum tread height in according to the LEP for standard home construction is 180 mil. That's max. But tiny homes, there's no real governing authority that says what you can and can't do. I mean, we obviously at Havenwood, we develop and design of our homes to as much as possible meet the building code of Australia, but our probably limitations are the staircases. In our Jackson model, we have the ability to actually put the standard staircase in because we've got the room, we've got the space, so we can actually get that suiting the building code of Australia. However, like I said, there's no real governing authority when it comes to laws and regulations on tiny homes, apart from safety like gas and all that sort of thing, because we come under the definition of a caravan. So obviously all of our gas and that sort of stuff needs to meet code. But when it comes to the actual internal workings, I mean, look at caravans. At the end of the day, nothing complies with the building code of Australia in a caravan when it comes to space and room sizes, ceiling heights and all that sort of thing. So yeah, so to answer that question, yes, we are going to be developing a ground floor model. Looking forward to hitting the marketplace with that in about 8 to 12 weeks' time. The 3-bedroom model you had at the Hawkesbury Expo, that was huge. How long was that? In actual fact, that model, that Charlo there was only 8.2 metres long. Sit down, dog. That model was the a 3-bedroom model. That was our Charlo, no, shush, was our Charlo model, and 3-bedroom. The rooms upstairs was absolutely massive. That's what people couldn't believe. Like the master bedroom upstairs, about 3.4 metres long, 2.8, so 3.4 by 2.8, room to burn, you know, it was huge. And then, of course, up the other end in the second loft, which was joined via a gantry, we had double bunks up the other end. And then, of course, downstairs at the drawbar end of the tiny home, another master bedroom. So in that home, 2 queen-size island beds. So when I say island bed, what that means is you can actually walk all the way around the bed. So if you're making the bed, you can actually, it's really easy to make your bed, you know. So when I say island beds, that's what I'm referring to. So 2 queen-size bed and double bunks. Sleep 6. Like, we're talking family of 6, no problem. Mum, dad, 2 kids, 4 kids. So plenty of room in the Charlo model. So 8.2 metres by 3 metres, and of course we're 4.6 metres high on our larger homes. Saw your New Jersey Lane model at the expo over hard to get to site. Is it possible to lift these with a helicopter? Yeah, I actually remember chatting with this chap. He's got a beautiful property right up the top of it looks like an escarpment. overlooking this massive valley. And of course, the only access will be for hikers to walk there. But the only way to get the tiny home up there is actually by helicopter, because of just the access, and obviously it's impossible to actually tow it up there. So, but hey, finally, we've got a trooper that's going for the full-blown camo. What would you call it? Stickers on the outside. Slipped my mind right now, but we're going to have full-blown camo. It's going to have the vinyl stick-on stickers on the outside. So what we're actually going to do is actually take a photo of the setting, replicate that on vinyl stickers, and stick that onto the tiny home. So this is like Predator stuff. It's like, wow. So really looking forward to getting in amongst that. It's going to be a ways off here because lots of development's got to happen for that to actually happen. But yeah, that's going to be really exciting. So imagine that, having a tiny home. I mean, I've had crane tiny homes, but one actually delivered via a helicopter. I mean, this is like next level stuff. Like, this is crazy, man. Like, so exciting. Yeah, so the Jersey Lane was a real hit. I think people didn't know what to think when they saw it for the first time. It's like, how can I work this into my budget, you know? So, but it's going to be a great one. We're actually going to set it up. We've got an ecotourism DA going through on our own property. So setting this up just to show people what you can actually realise in regards to returns on a tiny home. Tiny homes across Australia, flavour of the month. Everyone wants to stay in a tiny home. And you'll find that most tiny house people are actually booked out months in advance, because they're just hot property. Everyone wants to stay in a tiny home, so which is absolutely awesome. We had Luke and Lisa, I think I got that wrong, from Tiny Love Getaways. They were at the show there. They bought one of our tiny homes a good 12 months ago now. They've had a real bad run with the weather, with floods and that. They get flooded up there in the Hawkesbury where they're at. But they were at the show there, just talking to people about their B&B, and they're absolutely flat out. They said they're just booked out like weeks and weeks in advance. So I'm so glad to hear it. And just chat to other people, investors and whatnot, with tiny homes, not just ours, but their own tiny homes, and where they've purchased from other companies. They're all absolutely flat out. People love staying in tiny homes, because I just reckon they're unreal. Love the industry. So next question, can you? Oh, Fiona, yeah, wow, camo, can't wait for that. Oh, actually, you won't be able to see it, Fiona, because it'll be camoed into the scrub, you know. So we'll see how we go with that. That's going to be quite an achievement. Can you install a fireplace into your Elliott model? Yeah, matter of fact, we can. I've got two Elliotts going down to Victoria. Both of those will have fireplaces in them, and we've got just the spot location for the fireplace. So where it's located in the actual lounge room itself, so it's in a great position, so you can actually still look out at your view. Fireplaces off to the side, and one of our clients, Margaret from out Mudgee Way, goes a year and a half, 2 years. She's had a tiny home out there. She's got one of the little pivot fireplaces in her tiny home. Absolutely loves it. She said a stick and a half of timber in it at night time. Mudgee, as you can appreciate, gets really cold. 1.5 sticks of timber she bungs into a little pivot fireplace and loves it. So comfortable. And because our home's built from refrigeration panel, that it doesn't take much to get it hot and then to keep it hot. So it's great to hear people stoked with the little fireplaces. So because as we come into winter, probably nearly every second tiny house coming through now, actually people are ordering fireplaces in their tiny homes. And I don't know if I chatted about that, but we actually have a reputable installer of the pivot fireplaces. So these are licensed fireplace installers that install our fireplaces in our tiny homes. We don't just do it ourselves with our own carpenters. It sounds easy, but there's a lot of tricks of the trade. These guys know it all. They actually give us a certificate of compliance to actually, so we know and our end clients know that they actually meet the code and they're not an issue, you know. So it's all about safety, man. The last thing we want to do is someone come unstuck with a fireplace in one of our tiny homes, you know. So actually there was an incident up in Queensland. I don't know if anyone can clarify this. I don't know if it was a tiny home or a caravan, but they said a caravan went up in smoke and 2 people actually perished. So that's very unfortunate. So I don't know if that was a tiny home or whether that was a caravan or whether what the go was there or whether it was just someone threw a heap of petrol on it. So I don't know what's going on there. So if anyone knows about that, give us some goss. Loved the cladding you had on the specky you had at the expo. Where is that from? Well, that's actually a Lysart cladding. I think it's called Slimline or something like that. But it weighs a ton. I won't be installing that cladding or that brand of that cladding on any more of our tiny homes. It actually added about 350 kilos to the weight of our tiny home. It just went woo straight over the roof. So unfortunately, I won't be putting that brand on our tiny homes anymore because it's just too heavy. However, in saying that, I've outsourced another company with a very similar profile, and it's only at the same thickness as our custom wool cladding. So that's going to be good. We're going to be bunging that on a few of our homes as time goes on. So yeah, beautiful cladding, looks fantastic, heaps modern, and but way too heavy, that brand for tiny homes. Great on a house, no problem, but tiny homes, it just doesn't cut the mustard, you know. Is the Touring Tiny, that's our Touring Tiny, towable with a normal four-wheel drive? Well, it's actually, our Touring Tiny comes in at 2.9 tonnes. So I guess the answer to that question is yes. Most of your Prados, your Tritons, Colorados, all can tow around over 3 tonne. I think they're around 3 to 3.1 tonne without any improvements on the actual four-wheel drive. So that's no problem at all for a standard four-wheel drive to be able to tow our Touring Tinies around the place, you know. Of course, we have actually designed that to be a Touring Tiny, so to be able to drive that around, you know. So I met some of your team at the expo. They are very knowledgeable. Well, I hope so, because they're actually some of our builders. Kane and Toby were both came out to the show. I thought it'd be great for the guys to actually get involved, and you know, they work all week in the factory building our tiny homes, and it was just great to give them a change of scenery, get them to come out and listen to the comments from people and what they're saying about our homes and how popular they actually are in the marketplace. So it was really great for the guys to go out there, and they had great fun as well. So they really enjoyed it. So it was, and they enjoy just talking to people. They just, until you're actually there and you're doing it, you don't realise the how much the tiny home industry is really starting to take Australia by storm. So they were really encouraged, and it gives them something to get inspired. So when they come back to the factory working again this week, they were right in amongst it, knowing that they're, well, at the end of the day, providing a need. I mean, I don't know if I spoke about this on the lives before, that probably 90% of our clients, well, most of them are actually owner-occupier because our homes are so large, but and of that high percentage of owner-occupier clients, probably 90% of them are either single mums or ladies coming out of marriage breakdown. So it's just massive. And so what, I guess for Havenwood, what we see, we're actually providing a need. We're actually, we're answered a prayer for a lot of these ladies, and they've been living in them for years. They love it. You know, it's just a great, it gives them a second, I guess, second chance at life, and to be able to push on without the financial stress that may come out of having to buy a home or pay rent till they're 80 years old, you know. So that was really encouraging as well. Here's a curly one. Why should I buy a Havenwood home over one of your competitors? Well, that's a bit of a curly one. Well, I think competitors is the wrong word, you know, because, and this is what I say to a lot of the tiny home companies, like, no one tiny home company can supply the whole of Australia. Like, that's just not going to happen. So for my lighting, I'll only ever talk the industry up. I think it's a going ahead industry. It's not going to go anywhere. Everyone just it's affordable housing, and for me, I mean, what I love about the expos, and for people that are going to if you're looking at getting into the tiny home industry, expos are the way to go. So you get all the tiny home builders from around the states, you know, like at Sydney there on the last weekend, there was Victoria, Queensland, you know, like it's huge. Like the tiny home builders come from all over the place to exhibit at these shows, And it's not easy. Like, there's a lot of expense for these builders to come in and bring their homes. But what it does mean is that when people come to the shows, they get to see all of a sudden you've got 30 and 40 builders, all different shapes and sizes and different styles. And you can actually walk through the Tiny Home Expo, and you can actually all of a sudden something will take you, I like that style, or I like that shape, or I like that layout, you know. So I think if you're looking at or entertaining getting into tiny homes as your home, I think expos are the way to go. To an expo, you're seeing all the builders all lumped together, and you get to compare apples with apples, and then find a home that best suits you at that show. And you can then obviously negotiate with your builder for any chops and changes, any modifications that you need to do. How much to deliver your homes down to Victoria? Well, in short, we do deliver our own homes at the moment in-house. We've got a four-wheel drive Hino coming in about 8 weeks, so that's going to be. It's actually landed. We're just getting all the pimping it up with all the tray and tow bar and winches and super singles and all that sort of stuff. So that's just taking a bit of time, but that's going to be great for especially our long hauls and our deliveries that are going off road. So that'll be great. So people won't have to organise a track day. We'll be able to use our home. Oh, where else are I going with that? How much to deliver one of our homes? Well, we actually charge $2.80 per kilometre. Industry standard is around that $3 mark. I mean, I guess because we're doing it in-house and we can afford to actually do it probably a little bit cheaper. But there's some great guys out there at the moment that are doing tiny house moves. One Rick and Kerry from Rick's Towing, fabulous guys. Saw them again this week at the Hawkesbury show. Great guys, know their stuff, know what they can and can't do. But they'll definitely, it's probably a great starting point if chatting to Rick's Towing and Tiny Towing, Mark Martin. Tiny Towing, another great guy, knows his stuff, knows how to drag these puppies around. So give a couple of those guys a call if you're looking at relocating one of your tiny homes. But at the end of the day, we're probably a little bit less than industry standard, but industry standard is probably about $3 a kilometre. That's each way. So if you're 1,000 kilometres away from our factory, it's 1,000 times $2.80, and then we've got to get home. So that's another 1,000 times $2.80. So about $5,600 round trip to get you home. And we say to the gate. Now, the reason we say to the gate is because we don't know what's beyond the gate. We mightn't be able to get in. There's a creek, there's, I don't know, scrub or four-wheel drive track and whatever. So we say to the gate. I mean, obviously, if your pad's just inside and a couple of Ks or whatever, we'll just drive it. If it's an easy run, no problem. But, however, if it gets a bit sticky, because we allowed in our deliveries 2 hours on site. So once we get there, it's 2 hours on site. If you go above the 2 hours, we do have to charge, because quite often, we've got contractors there that do our long haul deliveries. That obviously we've got to pay them the extra time. So we would charge if it's more than 2 hours in time setting up because of complications on site. And here's my last question. I'll probably rattle on enough today. So my last question here is Michael Harris. Now, Michael Harris is a local farmer. Now, this guy's got me out of trouble probably 3 or 4 times now. I've got bogged, and I've got a real sticky one. It's really hard to get out or whatever. Anyway, of course, I called for Michael. What are you doing? He said, Rick, I'm milking cows. Well, mate, I need your assistance. He's got a 80-ton four-wheel drive tractor, and he... this is on the local ones, he'll come and give me a hand, So, just a bit of a shout out to Michael there. What a legend. But he's put a question in here because he knew I was away last weekend, which was Mother's Day weekend. Shani did come and work with me on the Saturday, Sunday, which was awesome. However, the question through Michael is, Michael Harris wants to know if you bought your wife a Mother's Day present. Oh, well, there you go. When was Mother's Day? Oh, yeah, that's right, last Sunday. Oops. I'm definitely not known for buying presents, okay? It's just one thing. I think early in the piece, probably the first 2 or 3 years of our marriage, probably lots of arguments and lots of biffo over that. But then after a while, it just sort of become natural that Rico just doesn't do presents. Okay. Oh, sometimes I do, but I always worked on this theory. If I bought my wife flowers, she'd think I was having an affair, you know. So it's like, what the? Where'd this come from? What's going on, you know? Oh dear, oh dear. But anyway, hey, listen, I've rattled on enough today, and now big week ahead. We've just got heaps going on. We're just flat out, which is awesome. But if you've got any questions in through the week, make sure you slip them through to us. If you want to talk more about the Tinies, getting lots of feedback from the Hawkesbury Expo already, which is absolutely awesome. And I got a few more clients that we picked up from the Geelong show. That was about 8 weeks ago now, so that's gold. So and that's why I would say to all the new builders that are coming on the block, don't expect that you're going to sell your homes out at the actual expo. Most of the feedback we get is actually after the expos, where 2 or 3 weeks later, people have gone home, they've thought about it, they've sort of the dust has settled, and they've sort of worked out in their mind from the homework they've done at the show which company they want to run with or which company they feel comfortable with. Then they start making the phone calls and get in contact with you to proceed with their new home, new tiny home. Exciting stuff. Love the game, love the industry, and can't wait to get back into it Monday. Uru. Thank you for my assistant coming in right now to turn the